Hello students and learners, welcome to the new lecture, and from this lecture we are going to start the new chapter, that is unit 10. Okay, unit 1, that is ecological principles. Okay, so or you can call it as ecology. So in this lecture mainly we are going to focus on few topics, that is introduction, levels of organization, factors of environment, biotic component, modes of feeding, changes in the organism. Okay, so all these topics that comes under in the section A. Okay, unit 10 section A, and we are going to cover the section A in two lectures. This is the lecture 1, and in the lecture 2 we are going to end the whole section A. Okay, so now let us discuss about the basics in this lecture. And introduction, while coming to the introduction, the Ernest Haeckel, so in the 1869 he used the first word ecology. Okay, so ecology, and next is the ecology means the branch of biology that deals with the relationship of an organism to another. So it is going to, in the ecology it is going to mainly look about the how the organisms are interacting with the uh, physical environment. Okay, for example, let us consider the birds are there. Okay, how the birds are interacting with the nature, like whether it may be air or whether it may be soil or land or what it may be. So what is the relation between these, or you can call it as the interaction between the biotic and abiotic components. Biotic means the living organisms, abiotic means non-living organisms. Okay, so that is known as ecology. So you have to remember the word, the physical surroundings. Okay, living organisms with the physical surroundings. So next is the environment. So environment is the surrounding in which biotic and abiotic components exist. So if you take the earth, okay, normally earth, so the earth contains mountains, okay, the rivers, organisms like lions, tigers, human beings, etc. So these all are present. So these including all, we are going to call it as an environment. Okay, or you can call it as a surroundings, the things that is present surrounding you, that is known as environment. Okay, so next is the levels of organization. So in the levels of organization we are going to discuss about the in the components that are present in the environment. Okay, so the various levels of various levels are present in the organization. So example, the species, population, community, ecosystem, biome, biosphere. So these all are the different levels that it can be seen in the ecosystem. Okay, so first is the individual. So what is meant by individual? Individual is the basic level of organization with a single organism. So let us consider there is a single honeybee. Okay, the single honeybee is present, that is known as individual. Okay, so the honeybee will not live together alone. Okay, it is going, this honeybee is going to live with other honeybees. Okay, so if many honeybees are seen, then you can call it as a species. So what is meant by species? The group of similar individuals, the group of similar individuals are known as a species. So all honeybees are looking almost same. Okay, their genetic information is same, that is known as species. Okay, so the honeybee will not look like a bird, and honeybee will not look like a dog, and so on. Okay, all honeybees are one species, all birds are one species. It means in the birds also you can see different species, and dogs and so on. So each and every organism has a species based upon the similarities in the individuals. We are going to group them into species. Okay, so next, and these species are going to they are going to breed. Okay, not breathing, so they are going to breed among themselves, or they are going to have their young children, or by a process known as sexual reproduction, and so on. Next is the population. So the individuals of the same species in the particular region is known as the population. So in here you can see the how many numbers are present, that numbers of the presence in the particular region is known as a population. Okay, so next is the community. Community means the interaction between various species. So the honeybees is one species, the birds are another species, the dogs are another species, human beings are another species, and so on. The different species are going to live in a particular region. This particular region is known as community. Okay, so next is the ecosystem. Ecosystem means the interaction between biotic and abiotic components. So you can see all these species are living and interacting with the water, whether it may be rivers or oceans or ponds. and they are going to interact with the mountains, rocks, soil, and so on. So this is biotic components. These are a biotic components. Okay, so this interaction between these two is known as ecosystem. Okay, so the interaction between biotic and abiotic components is known as ecosystem. So next is a biome. It biome means the group of ecosystem that have the same climatic conditions. So all different communities are present, and all these community has only particular environmental or climatic conditions. Okay, so in that case you can call it as a biome. So if rain is falling here, each and every organism can feel the rain, and each and every organism can feel the heat, cold, etc. So in that conditions in that conditions we can call it as biome. Okay, so next is the biosphere. Biosphere means the region of the earth occupied by the living organisms. So let us consider this the earth, and if the earth is covering with some part of the region that is covered with living organisms. Okay, this part of the earth is known as biosphere, and according to our knowledge, each and every part of the earth is covered with the living organisms. Hence the mostly the earth is covered with the biosphere only. Okay, there are only few regions where there is no life, but mostly earth is covered with the living organisms. Hence we can call it as a biosphere. So what about other planets? Earth is okay. What about other planets? If other planets also occupied with living organisms, then we can call it as a biosphere. Okay, so mostly like Jupiter or Mars, we don't find any living organisms over there. But if these planets have such kind of a living organisms, definitely we can call them as biosphere. The region should be containing with living organisms. Okay, and next is the articology. So it is the study of a particular organism regarding the adaptations to the environment. Okay, how the organism is adapting to the particular environmental conditions. So such kind of study is known as articology. Okay, so next is the factors of environment. So environment is divided into two components, that is, or we can call it as the factors. So those factors are known as biotic factors and also abiotic factors. So next, what is meant by biotic factors or biotic components? So biotic, the word biotic refers to the biological organism or the organisms which has a life, that is known as biotic components. So these biotic components includes all living organisms in the ecosystem. So that is known as biotic components, or you can call it as a living organisms. So example, generally we can take the example of plants, animals, microorganisms, etc. Why? Because these components, these substances has some kind of life. Okay, hence we can call it as a biotic components. So next is the abiotic components. Whenever we see A, the letter A in front of any word in the biology, the term refers to absence. Okay, here we can see the abiotic. Abiotic means the absence of life. Okay, that is known as abiotic components. Hence we can simply define as these abiotic components that includes non-living components is known as abiotic components. So what are they? They are rocks, light, air, etc. Why? Because these components do not have life. They do not have the digestion process, respiration, and excretion, reproduction, growth, etc. These all processes that cannot be seen in these components. Hence we can place them under the abiotic components. But if you see here, the plants, animals, microorganisms, they have the digestion process, respiration, reproduction, and also excretion, and so on. These all processes are present in these organisms. One process may be missing, one or two processes may be missing, but mostly all these processes can be seen in these organisms, that is known as biotic components. Okay, so next is the biotic components. We are going to discuss in detail about the biotic components. Just now we have seen the definitions of it, but we have to discuss in little bit in detail about this topic. Okay, so first is biotic components. So based on the mode of nutrition, biotic components are divided into autotrophs and also heterotrophs. So based on the nutrition only, okay, nutrition only, we are going to divide into autotrophs and heterotrophs. So autotrophs, what is meant by autotrophs? Auto means self, trophs means it is some kind of synthesis, okay. So these organisms are going to synthesize their own food material, that is known as autotrophs or autotrophic nutrition. So autotrophic nutrition means the ability to synthesize their own food materials are known as autotrophs, okay. How they are going to produce their own food material? Let us take the example plants, okay. So example plants, these plants are going to do a process known as photosynthesis, okay. With the help of photosynthesis, they are going to produce energy rich components, that is sugars or any organic molecules. So what is meant by organic? There is one question that is known as what is meant by organic molecule. So organic molecules means any component or any substance that contains carbon is known as organic molecule. So let us take the example of amino acids, okay. So amino acid, here you can see CO minus NH3 and also H and also the functional group over here, okay, or side chain R. So here you can see the carbons, here the carbon is there, here the carbon is there, but in the amino acid you can see minimum of one carbon, okay. So hence we can say that it is a organic molecule, okay. Now what about just NH3? NH3, what about NH3? So is it organic? No, it is not organic. Why? Because these components do not have the carbon, hence it is not considered as organic. What about water, H2O? Can you find any carbon in it? No carbon in it, so it is not organic, okay. So any substance or any chemical compound which contains carbon, that is known as organic, and any chemical substance which do not have carbon in it is known as inorganic molecules, okay. So by using inorganic components, that is known as photosynthetic organisms. So what are the inorganic components in the light? We are going, anyway we are going to discuss in coming lectures about the photosynthesis and so on, CT cycle, C4 and so on, okay. Inorganic means the minerals like magnesium and also the carbon dioxide. Even though carbon dioxide contains carbon, it is not a organic molecule. So next, water, these all, and also sunlight, these all are the components that are included under the inorganic components. With the help of these inorganic components, the organic molecules can be synthesized by these photosynthetic organisms. So what is meant by photosynthetic organism? Any organisms that can synthesize their own food material by a process known as photosynthesis, okay. Example, the plants. Next is the example, the bacteria. Some species of bacteria is going to perform photosynthesis, okay. Example, cyanobacteria, okay. So this is about autotrophs. Next, what about heterotrophs? Heterotrophs means these are the organisms that cannot synthesize their own food material, hence they are going to depend on other organisms, and as a result we can call these heterotrophs as as a result we can call these organisms as heterotrophs, okay. It means they are going to depend on other organisms, okay. They cannot synthesize their own food material. Example, animals, microorganisms, etc. These all are heterotrophs, and they are going to feed on other organisms, especially the mostly the plants, okay. So they may depend directly or indirectly. So for example, if you eat any meat like chicken or mutton, are you going to depend on autotrophs? Obviously you are indirectly depending upon the autotrophs. How the chicken is grown, how the mutton is grown, or how the goat is grown? By eating grass, okay. By eating grass or by eating grains, okay. So hence their body is built up with the help of autotrophs. It means if you eat these non-vegetarian, that is nothing but you are indirectly depending on the autotrophs. If you directly consume the plant material, that is you are directly depending upon the autotrophs, okay. Whether you may directly depend or indirectly depend, that is nothing but you are depending upon the autotrophs only, okay. So next is the based on the feeding habits, heterotrophs are divided into consumers and decomposers. We will discuss in detail about it. What is meant by consumer? Consumers means in the biology term. Now we are not going to discuss about MBA or other social studies. We are discussing about the consumer word in terms of biology. Okay, consumer means the organisms that can perform internal digestion, that is known as consumer. What is meant by internal digestion? For example, if you take the human beings are going to eat the food material. They are going to eat rice or chapati that will be taken into the stomach. Okay, in the stomach. Okay, this is, let us consider this is stomach, and in the stomach the digestion will be seen. The digestion of a food material will be seen. Okay, here you can see where the digestion is occurring. The digestion is occurring inside the body. So hence we are coming under the consumers. Okay, human beings are the consumers. Next, herbivores means the grass eating animals. They are also consumers. Carnivores, the meat eating animals, they are also consumers. Omnivores means these are the animals that will eat both plants and also animals. They are also consumers. Decomposers, etc. And also detrivores. These all are the things that are going to come under the consumers only. Okay. So next is the decomposers. Here in the consumers we have seen there is a internal digestion. The food is getting digested inside the body. Okay, and while coming to the decomposers, these organisms that can perform external digestion. It means, let us consider this is a food material and is the organism. So this is the organism, and let us consider this is a mushroom. What it is going to do? It is going to release some kind of enzymes onto the surface. So these enzymes are going to digest the food material, and the nutrients will be readily available. So these nutrients is taken up by the mushroom. Okay, where can you see the digestion process, inside the organism or outside the organism? Obviously you can see the digestion outside the organism, outside the body of the organism. Hence we can call it as external digestion. External means outside the body. Okay, and after the digestion the nutrients are taken into the organism. So they are coming under the decomposers. Example, microorganisms, bacteria, fungi, etc. These all are coming under the decomposers. Even you can see the fungi. So it is also going to do the external digestion. The bacteria, it doesn't have any proper digestive system inside it. So as a result, it is going to release some kind of enzymes and some other components to digest the food material. Okay, it is coming under the decomposer. Okay, what is meant by decomposition? We have to understand the word decomposition. So decomposition means the breakdown of the any molecular disruption of the structure. Okay, let us consider this is the sugar. Okay, or instead we can write a simple structure like amino acid. Okay, so this amino acid, what is the decomposition? Okay, decomposition means it is a breakdown of the amino acid into carboxylic acid plus functional group or side chain plus NH3 or so on. So it means the whole structure can be broken down into tiny individual molecules or individual atoms. Such kind of process is known as decomposition. Okay, that one that can be done by the decomposers. Okay, what is meant by mode of feeding? Mode of feeding means, so how the organism is going to take the food material, that is known as mode of feeding. So based on the mode of feeding, we are going to differentiate the organisms into these types. First is the phagotrophs. So phagotrophs means the organisms that can ingest the solid organic matter for the digestion process, and based upon the digestion and utilization of the food material, they are going to produce the energy. Okay, example, herbivores, carnivores, etc. So we human beings, example, comes under the phagotrophs. We are going to directly ingest the food material into the body. Okay, and inside the body we are going to digest the food material. After the digestion, the nutrients will be taken. From the nutrients we are going to obtain the energy. Okay, hence we are going to come under the phagotrophs. Okay, so have you seen the phagocytosis? Okay, anyway we are going to discuss about the phagocytosis and also all those process. So it means the taking of something inside the cell. Okay, that is known as phagocytosis. And coming to osmotrophs, these are the organisms that can perform external digestion. Just now we have seen the rhizophus. Okay, so rhizophus are fungi. So or you can call it as a mushroom. So how it is going to do? It is going to do the external digestion. So these organisms are going to come under the osmotrophs. That can be, the digestion will be external, and also then the nutrients are absorbed into the body. That is known as osmotrophs. Example, fungi, bacteria, etc. Okay. So next, the parasite. So parasite means it's an organism that depends upon other organisms for the food, shelter, etc. So hence it is known as parasite. So the parasite may take the shelter or may not take the shelter, but if it is going to take the food material from the host, that is known as parasite. Example, malarial parasite. If a person is suffering from malaria, what does it mean? The malarial parasite is going to live inside the human body, and it is going to cause some kind of suffering to the person, that is known as malarial disease. The malarial parasite is responsible for that disease. Okay, it is in case of organisms. And what about plants? Plants, in the plants you can see the daughter plant, or you can call it as a cascuta. Okay, so this plant is going to depend on other plant for the food. Okay, here the malarial parasite is going to take the shelter plus of food, but here in this case the plant, daughter plant, is going to take only the food material but not shelter. Okay, only food material, but it is going to depend upon the other host plant. Okay, hence we can call the daughter plant as a parasitic plant, also parasitic plant. Okay, so next, saprotrops. So and also we have to remember one thing: this daughter plant is not going to perform photosynthesis, even though it contains a less amount of the chlorophyll. It is not going to perform photosynthesis, and depending upon the other organisms, especially the host plants. So next, the saprotrops. Saprotrops means it is an organism that feeds on the decaying organic matter. Just now we have discussed the organic. Organic means any components or any chemical substance that contains carbon is known as organic matter. Example, mushrooms, rhizophus, etc. Okay, so next, coming to the changes in the organism. Okay, changes in the organisms towards the ecosystem or nature, that is coming under the changes in the organism. Okay, there are two terms we have to discuss. First one is the acclimatization. Okay, so what is meant by acclimatization? In our in your BSc or MSc, you might have studied about the acclimatization, especially during the tissue culture process. Okay, so after growing the small plant, or after growing seed inside the tube containing agar, inside the test tube containing agar, what you are going to do? You are taking out the plant and planting into a small pot containing some kind of organic matter, whether it may be dust, okay, sawdust, or whether it may be loose soil. Okay, so you are going to expose this plant to the light sunlight, and also up to only for few hours, and light water, only few ml of the water, and for the sometime air and so on. It means what you are going to do, you are going to acclimatize the plant to the natural conditions, and after few days, after you get adjusted to the environment, you are going to plant on the land. Okay, you are going to place this plant in the on the sides of the road or in the garden and so on. Okay, so this is known as acclimatization process. In the same way as you have seen the process over here, the organisms, the animals also going to respond to the nature in the same way. Okay, this is the adjustment, the acclimatization adjustment of an organism to the environmental conditions. Okay, for its survival. Okay, this process is known as, such kind of adjustment is known as acclimatization. Okay, this adaptation is the in the organisms is mainly due to the changes in the habitat. And remember, this is a temporary adaptation, not permanent adaptation. Temporary adaptation is known as acclimatization. Okay, so the reason for the temporary adaptation, that is nothing but acclimatization, is so that this organism requires, so that is nothing but to the survival in the particular short period of time. This is not organ, this is the organism. Okay, so generally the organisms requires to acclimatize, and the time taken for the acclimatization is only days to week. Okay, it may take 1 month or 2 months or 10 days and so on. So if the organism is going to take such kind of time, that is nothing but adaptation to the environment, but for the particular period of time. That's all. So, and also the after the temporary adjustment or adaptation is over, then the organism will be normal to the normal conditions. Okay, and also normal life conditions. So this is about acclimatization. It is just adjustment, temporary adjustment. Okay, now we will see the permanent adjustment. Adaptation is a evolutionary process. Evolutionary process means that there is a change in the genetic information. So as a result, if there is a change in the genetic information, that will be permanent. Okay, so that involves the genetically determined characteristics, that is known as evolutionary process. Example, you may take the giraffe. Okay, so previously the giraffes were like the size of the deers. Okay, but during the changes in these organisms, due to the evolutionary process in the giraffes, their necks has been elongated. Okay, their necks has been elongated. Why? Because there is a change in the genetic information, so that the neck has to be elongated. But this process cannot be reversed. Okay, even though if the food is available on the ground, even though if the food is available on the ground, the neck will not become shorter within 1 or 2 years. Okay, such kind of process is known as adaptation. Okay, and adaptation improves the quality, improves the ability of an organisms to survive and reproduce. So the main aim of the organisms, whether it may be bacteria or animal or plant, whatever it may be, the main aim is to promote the race. Okay, so the plant want to increase its population. Okay, the same species. So this is known as the main aim of the plant species. And if the same animals also want to increase their population, okay, and also they want to promote their race further in the future, future future seasons or future years. Okay, so next, generally the organisms requires several generations to adapt the particular environmental to the particular environment, and it is permanent adaptation. Okay, permanent adaptation means they are not going to switch back when the environment changes. Okay, that is known as adaptation or permanent adaptation. Okay, and I hope this lecture is helpful to you in the and also if you haven't subscribed, subscribe to the channel so that you will get notifications when the new lesson is uploaded, and like the video, share and comment. And in the next lecture we are going to discuss about the physical environment, and in the next lecture we will try to complete the section A, section A, that is in the unit 10 we have the sections. Okay, we are going to try to complete the section A in the next lecture, and after that in the third lecture we are going to start with the section B. Okay, so and see you in the next lecture.